Welcome back to this yoga session. I hope that you have been benefit from the exercise that we have done in the last 2 days, and I'm looking forward to continue this series. So today we'll be talking about different type of supine and prone asanas. And yeah, so let's start. Before that, let me give you introduction. So my name is Shraddha and she's Shreya. I'll be introducing or giving the introduction of particular asanas, and Shreya will be demonstrating it to you so that you can practice along with us. So yeah, let's start with the opening prayer before proceeding ahead. Gently fold your hands, close your eyes. Make sure your focus is in the class. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sah veeram karvavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now gently rub your palms. Make a cup shape of it and place it on your hands. Thank you for joining us in this session. So let's get started. But before proceeding ahead, I will just revise what we have done in the past 2 days. So in the last 2 days, we have covered various breathing techniques, different types of standing and sitting asanas. And today we'll be talking about supine and prone asanas. So basically, supine asanas are the asanas that we do by lying down on our back. And prone asanas are the ones which we do by lying down on our stomach, or asanas that we do with the help of our stomach. Okay, so there are different type of asanas in supine and prone, which help us give us a lot of benefits in terms of mental and physical health. And yeah, let's see before what are these asanas are. So we'll be starting it, but before proceeding, let's do the warm up. As I mentioned yesterday, warm up is very crucial and it's important. Please, I request everyone again, please don't jump into the asanas directly. Let's loosen our joints before practicing the asanas. So, Shreya will be showing it to you from the side wise so that you can exactly understand what she is doing. So again, we'll be moving from the lower part of the body, that is toe, and we'll be slowly going towards the head. So, inhale, take your toe to the front, that is towards you, and with exhalation, take it back. Inhale, front, exhale, 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 back. So make sure that you do this for 10 rounds. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Done. Now we'll be moving towards ankle. So we'll be moving our ankle front and back. So inhale and take your ankle to the front. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, front. Exhale, back. Inhale, front. Exhale, back. Inhale, exhale. 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 Inhale and exhale. Yes. I hope that you are following us. So now we'll be moving to ankle rotation. So we'll be starting from the right and taking towards left, that is clockwise. So inhale from your right and exhale it towards left. Inhale from right and exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale and exhale 5. Inhale and exhale 6. Inhale and exhale 7. Inhale and exhale 8. Inhale and exhale 9. Inhale and exhale 10. Now we'll be doing the same other side, that is, we'll be inhaling from left and exhaling towards right. So inhale from left, exhale right. Inhale from left, exhale right. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale and exhale 5. Inhale and exhale 6. Inhale and exhale 7. the kneecap tightening. So inhale, pull your kneecap up. You can actually feel that your kneecap is moving up or it's being tightened. Exhale, release and release it back. Inhale up, exhale, release. Inhale up, exhale, bring it down. Inhale up, exhale, bring it down. Inhale up, exhale 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 down. Inhale up and exhale down. Down. Now we'll be moving towards our hand. So take your hands out with inhalation. Take your fingers in and exhale, release. So make sure you do this for 10 rounds, for 10 counts. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Make sure you do it slowly so that you can feel all the stretches. Right? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Done. Now we'll be moving to wrist rotation. So take your hands out, make a list of your palms, and yes, start rotating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Done. Now we'll be moving to hand rotation. So take your hands and place it on your shoulder. With inhalation, inhale from front and exhale it towards back. So inhale from front, exhale back. Inhale and exhale 3, inhale and exhale 4, inhale and exhale 5, inhale and exhale 6, inhale and exhale 7, inhale and exhale 8, inhale and exhale 9, inhale and exhale 10. Now we'll be doing the other side. Inhale from back and exhale front. Inhale back and exhale front. Inhale back and exhale front. Inhale and exhale 4, inhale and exhale 5, inhale and exhale 6, inhale and exhale 7, inhale and exhale 8, inhale and exhale 9, inhale and exhale 10. Now you can release. Now you can fold your legs. You can sit in Sukhasana. Now we'll be doing twisting. So inhale, you have to inhale in the center and exhale towards your right. Right? You can feel a nice stretch in your spine. Again, inhale in the center, exhale left. Inhale in the center, exhale right. Inhale in the center, exhale left. Inhale in the center, exhale right. Inhale in the center, exhale left. Inhale, exhale right. Inhale in the center, exhale left. Inhale, exhale right. Now hold this position for 10 counts. Don't hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale come to the center and exhale left. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale come back to the center and exhale. Now we'll be moving towards shoulder rotation. So 1, inhale from back, exhale front. Inhale, exhale 2, inhale and exhale 3, inhale and exhale 4, inhale and exhale 5, inhale and exhale 6, inhale and exhale 7, inhale and exhale 8, inhale and exhale 9, inhale and exhale 10. Now we'll do the same reverse. Inhale from back and exhale towards front. So inhale and exhale 2, inhale and exhale 3, inhale and exhale 4, inhale and exhale 5, inhale and exhale 6, inhale and exhale 7, inhale and exhale 8, inhale and exhale 9, inhale and exhale 10. Done. We'll be moving towards head. So inhale, take your head up. Exhale, bring it down. Slowly. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale, bring it down. Yes. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale. Now we'll be moving towards sides. So inhale in the center, move your head towards right. Inhale in the center, exhale left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale right. Inhale and exhale left. Inhale and exhale right. Last round, inhale and exhale, lift. Inhale, come back to the center and exhale. Now we'll be moving to head rotation. So inhale from the center, drop your chin down or head down. Inhale from your right and exhale towards left. So inhale from your right and exhale left. Inhale from your right and exhale left. Inhale from right and exhale left. Now we'll be doing this anti-clockwise. So inhale from left and exhale right. Inhale left and exhale right. Inhale left and exhale right. Inhale, come to the center and exhale. Now release. Make sure when you're practicing head rotation, you can actually feel the stretch and you're doing it slowly. Please don't rush in this exercise. You have to feel the stretch. Right? We'll be chanting one round of Makara for the relaxation. So inhale, and while exhaling, chant Ma, M-A, Ma. Inhale. Now gently you can rub your palm and please make a cup shape of it, placing on your eyelids. So basically we chant Makara because it helps in giving the soothing effect. Because a lot of these stretching exercises can give us a lot of tension in our muscles. So that is the reason it helps in soothing. Right. So we have done with our basic warm up. Now we'll be starting with the prone asanas. So before starting, let's first understand what are the benefits of prone asana. So as I mentioned earlier, prone asana means, prone basically means the front region, that is the stomach region. And these are the asanas that we perform by lying down on our stomach. Right? So this is useful in bringing balance in our body. It helps in harmonious growth. It strengthens and stretches the front part of the body, the back, shoulders and hips. It gives flexibility to our body. It actually calms down our mind and also relieves tension and stress. Right? So again we are bringing 5 sets of prone asana that you can practice as per your convenience. Make sure that the preferred time is that you do before your lunch, dinner or breakfast. And if you are doing in the evening, then please make sure that there is a time gap of 3 hours. Okay, so Shreya will be going to the sthiti, the prone sthiti. So a prone sthiti is something where your legs are completely joined together, you're lying down on your stomach and your hands are straight above your head. Right? You can see the straight and prana. So we'll be starting from the Bhujanga asana. Okay. So inhale, slowly bring your both the hands next to your chest, and with inhalation, rise your upper body up. Right. Make sure that you do it with lumbar region. Right. And you can be in this position for 10 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With exhalation, you can come back. Now you can relax in Makarasana. So you have to note this. The sthiti in prone asana is prone sthiti. That is, your hands are up above your head and your legs are joined together. But the relaxation posture is Makarasana. That is, your hands are crossed in front of your head, in front of your face, and your chin is on your hands, and your legs are apart. Right? So let me explain you what are the benefits and limitations of Bhujangasana. So it gives the flexibility to dorsal spine. It helps in making our spine flexible. It strengthens our spinal muscle. It reduces abdominal fat, and it is useful in back-related problems. Right? Some of the limitations are people who have cervical spondylitis and who have recently gone abdomen surgery. Please try avoiding this. And if you people who have cervical spondylitis, and if you still want to practice it, please practice this under a trained teacher. Okay. Now we'll be moving to another asana, that is Shalabhasana. Okay. So again you can come to sthiti, that is prone sthiti, your hands up above your head. Yes, and your feet, both the legs joined together. Now with inhale, you have to inhale and exhale. Take your right hand up and make a fist of it, fold it and place it on your right thigh, right inner thigh. Okay, you can see Shreya. Now take your left leg with inhalation and exhalation, place it on your left inner thigh. Now inhale, raise your leg up and gently and slowly raise your head up. Okay. So this is Shalabhasana. Be in this posture for 10 counts. So you don't have to worry about the raising of your leg. Just do as much as your body allows. You don't have to push so hard. Eventually you will be able to get in this posture. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale. Release your leg and head. Inhale and exhale. Bring your left leg forward. Inhale and exhale. Bring your right leg forward. Now you can relax it. Makarasana. Yes. So let's see what are the benefits of Shalabhasana. It helps in curing sciatica and low back ache. It tones our kidney and hip muscles. So if you're facing a lot of issues with the kidney problem, or you have any issues with the kidney functioning, you can actually practice this particular asana. It reduces the fat on thighs, right? So I would strictly say no to people who have cardiac problems or who are diabetes patients to avoid this asana. And people who have lower backache, please proceed cautiously. Okay. Now let's move to other asana. So now we'll be practicing Dhanurasana. Right? So again you have to come to the sthiti. This is Dhanurasana. We'll be practicing Dhanurasana. So now with inhalation and exhalation, take your right hand and hold the ankle of your right leg. Right? How you can just see how Shreya is showing. Right? Now take your with inhalation and exhalation, take your left hand and hold the ankle of your left leg. Now inhale, pull your both the legs up, and with further inhalation, look up and take your upper body. You'll be holding this for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale, release your leg slowly and release your head. Inhale and exhale. Bring your left hand to the front. Inhale and exhale. Bring your right hand to the front. Now you can relax it. Makarasana. So this is called as bow posture in English because at the end, if you have seen the final posture clearly, you have realized that it looks like a bow, right? So that is the reason it's also called as Dhanurasana bow posture. So let's understand what are the benefits of Dhanurasana. It is really useful for the people who are suffering from diabetes. It removes gastrointestinal disorders basically, and it stimulates our whole body. It is helpful in slimming our body, and it removes extra fat from our body. It is also it stimulates our back and gives flexibility to our back. So people with general debility, please avoid this posture. Okay. Now we'll be doing Ashtanga Namaskara. This is also called as 8-limb posture. This is called as 8-limb posture because we actually use 8 parts of our body to reach the final posture in this. So again you can come to sthiti, and now you can fold your hands, bring it to your chest, next to your chest. With inhalation you can raise your body up completely, and now slowly with exhalation you can first bring your knees to the ground, then you can take your chest to the ground, and then your chin to the ground. So as you can see, Shreya's toes are on the ground, her knees are on the ground, her chest is touching the ground, and her chin is on the ground, and her hands are next to her chest, and the rest of her body is off the ground. So make sure that your toes are on the ground and you don't raise them completely on the ground. Right? So this is wrong. This is the one which is correct. I hope you are able to see. So this is also a very common posture that we practice in Surya Namaskara, and I'm sure if you are practicing Surya Namaskara, you will be aware of this. So let's hold this for 10 counts and breathe normally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With exhalation, you can bring your body back to the ground completely. And now you can relax it, Makarasana. Right? So as you have seen that there are 8 limbs or 8 parts of the body that we are using, that is the called it's Ashtanga Namaskara. Ast means 8. So it's quite understandable. Let's understand the benefits. It strengthens the muscles of the hands and legs. Right? It strengthens the chest. It enhances the flexibility of back and spine. So yeah, as you can see, it provides, it strengthens our back muscles and it supports our back muscles. It also helps in reducing stress, tension, and anxiety. So I would say no to people who have back or spine injury or who have recently gone abdomen surgery or knee surgery. Please try avoiding this posture. Okay. So now we'll be doing Naukasana, that is the boat posture in Pranasana. So let's see how it's being done. First, you have to come to Sthiti, that is prone Sthiti. Your hands will be up, straightened above your head, and your legs join together. Now, with inhalation, you have to raise your hands and legs at the same time. So now you can see at the final posture that there is a boat kind of thing which is formed, right? That is the reason it's called as Naukasana. So we'll be in this posture for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With exhalation, release your hands and legs. And now you can relax in Makarasana for a few seconds. Meanwhile, we can understand what are the benefits of Naukasana. So as a lot of pressure is being exerted on our abdomen, so that is the reason it helps in reducing belly fat. It's really good for digestion because again it pressurizes and improves circulation of blood in our stomach region. It is really good for diabetes, and as it helps to maintain the sugar levels. It improves the functioning of kidney, thyroid, kidney, and also prostate glands. Right? It strengthens our hip, shoulder, and neck. So people who have hypertension, high blood pressure, joint pain, arthritis, severe headache, hernia, or who are the patients of ulcer and migraine, please avoid practicing it. And if you want to practice, please practice under a trained teacher. So we have seen 5 pronasanas. I hope that these postures help you and help you in terms of physical benefits. And you are, by practicing them, you can enhance your body functioning. Right? Now let's see how we do practice supine asanas and what are different type of supine asanas that are we practice in yoga. So let's first understand what are the benefits of supine asanas in general. So because supine means the back, and in this supine asana we practice different type of asanas by lying down on our back. So it strengthens our back and abdominal muscle as well. It tones our legs and thigh muscle. It tones our arms as well. It helps in strengthening the back. It gives flexibility to the spine. And yeah, it is also very good for people who want to practice advanced asana, right? Like Scorpio or other kind of asanas, headstand or different other asanas. So now you can come to your back. Make sure when you're turning towards your back, you're turning from the right side. And you can see how Shreya is turning, so you have to turn in the same way. Don't get up, or you don't have to come up directly and then turn and then lie back on your back. So it is not the right way. You have to turn with the help of your right side. You can come to on your back. So we'll be starting from Pavanmuktasana. So again I'll be talking about the relaxation sthiti and also the sthiti. That is how we proceed to the posture. So basically, this is the sthiti where your hands are next to your hip, your legs are joined together. So this is sthiti, and relaxation sthiti is shavasana. So in shavasana, your legs are apart, right, and your hands are apart from your body, and your palms are facing upward towards the ceiling. So this is the relaxation posture for every asana that you do in supine, okay, category basically. So we'll be starting from Pavanmuktasana. Come to sthiti, your legs joined and your hands next to aside from your hip. So with inhalation and exhalation, right, fold your both the legs towards your chest. Now inhale and interlock your fingers, right, and you can place your legs on your chest and stomach, and this is very good, and it massages your all internal organs. So some people who have slightly backache or who are not comfortable can practice in this way. Other version of this is where you take your head up and try to touch your forehead to the knee. So this is again another version of Pavanmuktasana. Right? So we'll be holding in this posture for 10 counts. Please don't hold your breath, again I'm saying. Just breathe normally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With exhalation, take your head up. Inhale and exhale. Release your hands and legs. Right. Now you can relax in Shavasana. So this particular asana is really good for people who have problems related to digestion. It's really good for people who have gastric issues. So as it helps in removing harmful gases. It is good for lungs and heart. It actually massages all our internal organs, especially in the abdominal region. So please skip this asana if you have recently gone abdomen surgery or you have cervical spondylitis or you have hernia, if you have the issue of piles, if you have if you have high blood pressure, and if you have slipped disc or you have any heart related issues. Right. Now next asana that we'll be doing is Setu Bandhasana. So it's also called as bridge posture basically. So come to sthiti, that your hand next to your hip and your legs joined together. Okay. Now with inhalation and exhalation, fold your leg one by one. Right. Now make sure your hands are next to your hip and it's placed. The palms are facing the downward. Right. In case if you're comfortable, you can also hold your ankles. So it depends on you how you're comfortable and how much your body allows. Right. With inhalation, raise your upper body, like the central part up. Right. And you can also raise your torso much. So this is the Setu Bandhasana. This is really good for backache. And if you are able to raise your the central part like more, then you will be able to feel that your chin is being touched to your chest, which is a good sign in terms of how you are practicing, and that is how the final posture should be. So let's see, and let's hold this posture for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With exhalation, bring your center part back to the ground. Now inhale and exhale, release your left leg. Inhale and exhale, release your right leg. Now you can relax in Shavasana. Now let's understand what are the benefits of a Setu Bandhasana. It helps in relieving neck pain and back pain. It's really good for backache. So if you're facing back-related issues, which we are mostly because of our sedentary lifestyle, so you can perform Setu Bandhasana or Naukasana or Bhujangasana and even Pavan Muktasana, and you can see the results immediately. You can feel a lot of stress being released from your back region. Even lower back issues, it's really good for all kind of back problem issues. It is also really good for asthma. It stimulates our thyroid and it's really good for thyroid. It strengthens our back. This pose is really good for people who have weak or tired legs. It improves our nervous system. So people with severe backache, neck ache, knee pain and shoulder injury, please try avoiding this posture. Okay. Now we'll be moving to our next posture. This is called as Supta Bandha Konasana. Right? So Bandha Konasana is the butterfly posture and Supta Bandha Konasana is reclined butterfly posture. So let's see how it's being performed. So come to sthiti, that is your leg being joined and hands next to your hip. Right. Now with inhalation and exhalation, bring your legs and fold your legs right in the same way. Make sure both the soles are joined together. If not, then don't worry. Do as much as your body allows. Right? And some people, if you want to support your leg more, you can actually press your inner thigh and even the knee portion, right? And press it down and press it down towards the ground more, right? So be in this position for 10 counts and breathe normally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now with inhalation and exhalation, fold your legs and release your legs one by one. Again, relax in Shavasana for a while. Meanwhile, let's understand what are the benefits of Supta Bandha Konasana. So as you have seen that in this we are actually working on our inner thighs, right? Or even on the hip part. So it actually helps in strengthening our inner thighs and the hips. And it is really good for people who are facing PCOD or PCOS related issues. It's really good for women who are facing menstrual problems. If you practice this asana, you'll feel that your body is being energized instantly. It activates your ovaries, the prostate gland, and it also stimulates your kidney and urinary bladder. It helps to relieve stress from our nervous system. So again, as you've seen that in the final posture, this includes the knee. So people who have knee injuries, please try avoiding this. If you have any kind of pain in your lower back or hip region, please try avoiding this. Okay, now we'll be moving to Sarvangasana. Some people may find this a little tough, but you don't have to worry. You can eventually reach the final posture as you practice it regularly on a daily basis and do as much as your body allows. This is a slightly advanced asana. As of now, what have been practicing, they are the part of basic asanas and all beginners can do. And this is slightly advanced. And if you are a beginner, then first practice other part of asanas and then come to Sarvangasana. So let's see how it's being practiced. Come to Sthiti, that is the legs joined together and hands next to your hip. Right. So with inhalation, take your both the legs together to 90 degrees. Right. And with further inhalation, with the support of your elbows, give that support to your back, lower back, and make sure that your complete leg is above, right? And make sure that your chin is touching your chest. So don't make sure that it's 90 degree. It's not inclined towards you or it's not going backward. It has to be straight in line, just in one line, 90 degree. So you can take the support of your elbows. You have to take the support of your elbows to reach the final posture. We'll be holding it for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With exhalation, with the support of your elbows, slowly bring your back to the ground. Yes. And with further exhalation, take your leg to the ground. Now you can relax it. Shavasana. Right. So a lot of people may find it difficult, but as I mentioned earlier, please just try other asanas first, and as this is a little advanced version, maybe your body will not support the body weight of the complete body part. So that is the reason you have to first strengthen your other parts of the body, that is like legs, arms, especially arms and elbows and shoulder and the upper back, and then you have to practice it. Right? So as you have seen that there is a lot of, in the final posture, a lot of pressure is being exerted on our neck, especially on this particular part. So it helps in keeping our thyroid healthy. It's really good for people who have thyroid related issues. It influences our pelvic organs, so it's really beneficial for our pelvic organs. It helps in varicose veins. So because of our sedentary lifestyle, a lot of people get varicose vein related problems or other sciatica kind of issues very quickly. So it's beneficial for both of the problems. It's really good for piles, it's good for hernia, and it's really good for menstrual disorders. So avoid this asana strictly in cervical spondylitis or lower backache and hypertension. If you are also high BP, then please try avoiding this. So we have come to the last part of supine asanas. This is halasana. It's also called as plow posture. It looks like a plow or hull. So that is the reason. When you see the last posture, the final posture, then you will be able to relate with the name more. So let's see how it's being done. Right. So first you have to be in Sthiti. The Sthiti is, again, as I mentioned, your legs should be closer to each other and your hands next to your hip. Right. Now with inhalation, take your both the legs up to 90 degrees. Now with exhalation, take your legs above your head, right? So as you can see, this looks like a plow, so that is the reason it's called as halasana. So you can also take the support of your elbow and hand and give it support. Otherwise, the another version is that you can release your hands. So just see how your body allows or how comfortable you are with this posture and then practice. We'll be again holding this posture for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With inhalation, take your body slowly, take the support of elbow. Please don't hurt yourself while practicing this. Yes. Bring your leg to the 90 degree. Yes. And gently place your hip to the ground. Now with the exhalation, place your legs completely on the ground. Now you can relax in Shavasana. Right. So let's see what are the benefits of Halasana. It stretches and stimulates our back muscles because a lot of strength is being, we take a lot of support of our back, and there is a lot, that is the reason it helps in stimulating our back muscles. And you can actually feel the stretch while doing this particular asana. It's really good for all the spinal joints. All the joints are being they get the flexibility, and they also get the strengthening. And it's really good for lumbar nerves. It enhances the flow of blood to the head region, also through neck, and that is the reason it helps in problems which are related to thyroid. It also helps in activating the thyroid. So a lot of people have, especially women, have started facing thyroid-related problems or they get thyroid early in their age. So that is the reason. If you start practicing all these asana, halasana or sarvangasana, you can see that your problems are being cured in a months of time if you practice regularly. It keeps our spine flexible and gives a nice stretch. People with again hypertension, cardiac problem, or any spine-related problem, please try avoiding this. Right? So we have come to our the final end of the session. So thank you so much for being associated with us, and I hope the asanas that we have performed in prone and in supine category will help you. And if you have followed us, it will be beneficial for you. If you start practicing it regularly, you can actually feel the benefit that you get in terms of your physical and mental problems. Right? So yes, thank you again. We'll be closing this session with a closing prayer. Gently fold your hands, close your eyes. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukhabhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently rub your palms. Make a block shape of it and place it on your. So, as you have seen, again I would like to thank you for being a part of this journey, and hope you are being benefited as much as you can, and I'm able to impart some knowledge to you. But before closing this session, I would just like to say a few words. So basically, we have in the last 2 days, that is today and yesterday, we have completed 4 categories in which the particular asanas are performed. That is standing, sitting, prone, and supine. So all the asanas that you practice in yoga will be in this particular category. And standing and sitting will be mostly for beginners, and while prone and supine are slightly advanced in terms of practices, right? And a lot of people will be holding this posture for a very few seconds. But it's said that every person who is practicing yoga asana should be holding the posture minimum for 3 minutes, and then maximum till 30 minutes. So you have to, so you can see the number, right? 3 minutes to 30 minutes. So that is the time lapse that you have to actually follow a particular asana practice. So just try to hold each posture as long as you can. I know that it's a little difficult, but with the practice you can actually get a hold of all the postures and all the asanas. And also it's said that in yoga by sage Patanjali that yoga asana should be Stiram, Shiram, Sukham asana. That it should be first stable, comfortable, then you should be feeling happy in that particular posture. Right? Even though it's very complicated and uncomfortable being in that particular posture, but you have to be. And make sure whenever you are being in a particular posture, whether it's standing or sitting or supine or prone or doing any other asana, you have a face on your smile. So don't get that stress come to your face. Just keep smiling and keep practicing yoga. So yeah, that's it. So we'll meet tomorrow with another topic and we'll be covering another topic. Thank you so much. Hope you have been benefited and thank you for being part of this journey. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you. Namaste.